Let's move on to some news that emerged yesterday, Cass, and it's one that's certainly going to interest you because the Feyenoord head coach Arne Slot has confirmed he will replace Jurgen Klopp as Liverpool manager. Klopp, as we know, has been in charge of the club since October 2015, but is leaving at the end of the season after a reign that has seen him win the Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup and 2 League Cups as well. Slot's confirmation came just hours after it was announced by Liverpool that also midfielder Thiago and defender Joel Matip will also leave Liverpool at the end of the season. Former Spain international Thiago joined Liverpool from Bayern Munich in 2020, made 98 appearances during his time at Anfield, which was blighted by injury. Matip himself has had a few injuries as well, sadly, but he has played a lot more. 201 times, scored 11 goals for Liverpool since his arrival from Schalke in 2016, and he has won pretty much everything there is to have won in a Reds shirt. Just first of all, on the news of those two players leaving, Cass, how do you feel about that?
Great servants to the club. And you mentioned Thiago as well, you know, a fabulous footballer. Absolute genius technically. At his best, he was a joy to watch. I love watching Thiago. Unfortunately, injuries, and he doesn't quite cover, you know, the demands of the game with the intensive endurance that you need to be running, closing down, doing all the graft work. I think it just got a bit beyond him. He's in his 30s now, but incredibly gifted. So great. And Matip, what a free transfer, as Jurgen Klopp says.
I know, I was going to say, the best free transfer, he said.
When he came in, and his partnership at its best with Van Dijk was, you know, he was pivotal. But he had, again, a number of injuries that caused him, but a great success, great servants to the football club, that's for sure. Matip, a lot longer. But you think of, I'll tell you what I would say, Nat, as well, and this is becoming a bit of a common theme now. I hope we're going to do a piece on this tomorrow about Rafael Varane, which I'm sure is quite interesting because I've done a bit of numbers on Rafael Varane. But it's a bit like Thiago, where you buy for 30 million, you pay him quite a high wage because you took him from Bayern Munich, and the cost of him over that course of 3 or 4 years can be very expensive, and he ends up being given away as a free.
Yes.
This is quite an expensive thing to do now for football clubs.
Yes.
You put wages and the transfer fee in, it can get to 70, 80 million for that period quite quickly.
And you haven't got much return back from
there's no return.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. And unfortunately for Thiago, he did have a lot of injuries at Liverpool and never really got that consistent run that he would have liked, I'm sure. Do you know when I think of Joel Matip? I think when I first started at talkSPORT, or maybe a couple of years into my time here, he was one of the first player interviews I did at talkSPORT.
Right,
and he was lovely. So I have that sort of sentimental sort of affection for him because I was like, oh, he was really nice when I interviewed him.
Oh, well, everyone that I've had interviews with him talks about how humble he is.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a really, really lovely man. Yeah. So, when I heard he was leaving, I was like, oh, that's a shame. What about the fact that Arne Slot is taking over? I know it had been rumoured for a while. Liverpool yet to confirm that. I imagine they're waiting until the end of this weekend and making sure that Jurgen Klopp, first of all, gets his farewell. But are you ready for him? Does he make sense to you now as the right man to take over? I
mean, look, the Feyenoord fans, well, you could say, make the same argument when Ten Hag left, when he left Ajax. I actually was at an Arsenal game when two guests there were Ajax fans, and they love Ten Hag. You know, they'd take him back in a heartbeat.
Really?
You know, they really have great feelings for him. So I'd be interested to see what happened with Man United over this course of this summer. And the Feyenoord fans love Arne Slot. They've admired what he's done. He sold players that when the club needed money, he got rid of them and he created a team. And from that, I hope that we get a manager that can do a similar thing at Anfield, because one thing that's happened over the Klopp, I mean, I've listened to some mad interviews about Klopp and people deciding whether he was good or could he have done better. And I'm thinking, really? Do you not remember where Liverpool were when he took over? It was a pretty dull place, you know, the end of Brendan Rodgers, and it didn't end badly. It ended badly for Rodgers and the way the team were playing. And he created that Mane, Salah, you know, Firmino, that front line. It was just
the rock and roll football.
It was just brilliant. And so I'm hoping he can come with fresh ideas. But I don't think he'll ever go. I have seen Feyenoord 2 or 3 times. They play rock and roll football as well.
Well, I was going to say,
it's a pretty go after teams. So I think Liverpool fans will really relish and love watching his team play. That doesn't guarantee success, though, does it?
No, it doesn't. But he needs time at the same time.
I think Liverpool fans and as a club are pretty decent on, backing their managers and giving them enough time to, the game is pretty brutal, isn't it? You can get sacked pretty easy. So hopefully not.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.